What is happening out there, rotoscouts baseball fans? Or fan? Or nobody? Not sure who's going to show up for this one. 12 noon show. Weird slate. Little 3-gamer on DraftKings that includes the 1 o'clock game, which is why we're here this early. 2-gamer on FanDuel, which starts 7 hours from now. Should be fun. Maybe we'll pick up some views along the way. I should have put trade deadline in the description of this video. Maybe that would have gotten more views. I wonder if I can still change that. Probably not now that we've started. That would have been a really good idea. Trade deadline day in baseball, in MLB. So a real big one come through last night with Gino Suarez getting traded back out to Seattle. Might have a little bit of an impact on what his overall home run total ends up being, but obviously huge pickup. That lineup is ridiculously good now. Goes really well with their ridiculously good pitching staff. That team's loaded. It's going to be really interesting to watch them try and make a run here these last 2 months. Andy's here. What's going on, Andy? Good to see you, buddy. I know I'm not here talking to myself, at least. I appreciate it. What's better than an early day with Terry? In my mind, pretty much anything else, but I get you and I appreciate it. Welcome, welcome. So, as I was saying, real ugly little slate here. Not a big fan of the way, I don't know which way was better to do it, honestly. Like I said, DraftKings included this first one, Tampa Bay in New York, which starts at 1:05. And then we go all the way down till 7 o'clock. So really broken up slate on DK, but at least you get the additional game. FanDuel's got this as a showdown slate, so no pitchers in this one for FanDuel. I've got the showdown pricing in here for FanDuel, by the way. And then they're just running the 2-gamer, which is a mess for baseball because it's just not enough options really to work with. And it's just, you're playing hitters against pitchers and 2-gamers, and I just don't like them. It was a weird day. No good answer, I don't think, either way as far as how to break it up. R. Jones saying, I think we play like 2 to 3 Rays bats and move on. I don't know. I think there's a decent argument to be made for at least considering some of the Yankees bats, and depends on what we're doing. But yeah, I don't think you want to necessarily just like take guys out of a 3-game slate. You don't want to come into this saying, well, I don't want to get to any of the Yankees. 3-gamer, you want to get that full spread, at least as you're building your lineups. Once you're down to the sorting point, then you can make more hard, concrete decisions like that. But let's dive into this ugliness. Good to see you, by the way, R. Jones. So, Pepio not on the FanDuel slate. Stroman not on the FanDuel slate. Going to try and keep that in mind as we talk through it. Obviously, excellent pitcher. He's had a couple bumps in the return, but rounding into form. Love the upside for George Kirby on any day. Pepio against the Yanks stands pretty tall. That's a tough one. That's a tough one at very high pricing, but Andrew Abbott's been pitching great all season. Not totally sure what that's going to look like, and Stroman's just bad. So this is not a good pitching slate. We'll come back to that in a sec. Runs board that early game, 4 and change, mid-4s implied totals on both sides. Rays are a little bit higher than the Yankees at 4.37 versus the Yankees 4.22. I feel like that ought to be a little bit higher for the Rays and a little bit more separated from where the Yanks are. Really don't like Stroman. Has not been pitching well this year. Those Rays are a talented bunch. Fit into Yankee Stadium fairly well. Just doesn't look great. Pepio, really good young pitcher. Every now and then runs into some bumps, but should be able to blaze a trail through for strikeouts through that Yankees lineup for a while. Obviously, it's a high danger spot, but I do like the upside for Pepio. So I'm not disagreeing with R. Jones on saying that the Rays are better looking than the Yankees for this game. And I feel like they ought to be getting a little bit more of that Vegas total. But obviously, we're taking a look at least 3 of the 4 pieces in that game and then do with Stroman what you will. Braves and the Reds. Monster total for the Reds, leading the slate at 5.47. They're going up against Carlos Carrasco. Carrasco got picked up by the Braves. He was pitching for the Yankees in AAA over the last couple of months. He started the year, if you remember, with the Yanks, made, I've got the game log, but I want to say like 5-6 starts. And then ended up getting DFA'd, went down to AAA. after he didn't get picked up anywhere, and has been starting down there and pitching deep into ball games. So I think 5-6 innings at a full start is perfectly reasonable to expect. It's just what the quality of that's going to look like. Going the other way, Andrew Abbott, again, pitching really, really well. Very expensive on this slate. Going up against the hard-hitting Braves club in a hitter-friendly park. Big total in that game at 9.5. The Braves at 4.15. And then we close with Rangers-Mariners. Low total, 7.5 for the game. Mariners picking up 4.27, 4.28. And the Rangers just a 3.31 implied total going up against George Kirby. Going the other way, it's Kumar Rocker on the bump for the Rangers facing that excellent Mariners lineup. Oh, you're just thinking for the rain? Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. Roth, the description on Roth's breakdown is like a full paragraph for that Rays-Yanks game. He's got it yellow-orange. I think this is still his free report. I'm just going to read it. Storms are firing up near New York, then pushing into New York this afternoon. If we trust models, we don't, but we don't have anything else to go on, so we have to. Storms fire up at 2 west of New York. Storms get dangerously close by 3. Storms are fully in New York by 4. That timeline, if accurate, would give us enough time to play most or all of the game, but that timeline could easily be off by an hour or two in either direction. And if Storms end up over New York at 2, we've got a game which only goes a few innings before it gets called, and that is a legitimate possibility. I'll leave my official forecast at yellow-orange with increasing storm chances late game and hopefully just after the game. But there's uncertainty here, as is typical with afternoon games. Winds in from left at 10 miles an hour. The other note that he's got is on the Atlanta-Cincinnati game. He's got it green. Seems fine. Not really sure why he even wrote it up. We are just ducked under an hour to game time. And this is obviously could change in 5 minutes. But right now, looks fine outside. It's another hot, muggy, nasty day in the New York area, but not as bad as it's been the last couple. Yesterday, it got all nasty looking right around game time. If I was going to this game, I'd be going. So, on a slate like this, we kind of got to consider it. But obviously, that is dangerous considering that one starts and then there's nothing you can do about it. And then 6 hours later, you get to the other game. So, kind of locked in. So just getting back to the pitching board, and that's your weather report. Getting back to the pitching board. Kirby at 94.88. I mean, this is a ridiculously good price to get George Kirby. Even this is not bad at all. That is a good Rangers team in terms of man for man. Those are talented baseball players, but it's also a team where man for man, by and large, they've been struggling for the better part of the last 2 years. They do hit. They do have a couple guys go off. They just don't ever really seem to put it all together at the same time. So you see like a game where, Semien comes to life, and then 2 days later, Adolis Garcia comes to life. Seager's had a good year all year, but I mean, it's been a really gettable Rangers squad. And Kirby's a top end pitcher when he's going right. Pepio against the Yanks for 8,300 is a great buy on the DraftKings slate. Absolutely fire away at that one. You got to fade the weather. That's going to be your big concern. We get rain in the 4th inning, and that's going to be a total wash. But at least he's not that crazy expensive. And I would say that he's not priced for his talent for facing the Yankees without Aaron Judge and for all the strikeouts that are available in the Yankees lineup. So at 83, that's a great purchase. Kumar Rocker just kind of third by default here. 82.73 does have a little ability maybe to pick up some Ks against that Mariners lineup, but a high danger spot. We'll see whether Gino Suarez is in the lineup for the Mariners today. He's in the projected. He's not currently on either site as a Mariner, so just know that. But even if he's not in the DFS pool, if he's just in their lineup, that's obviously another devastatingly good power hitter added to Seattle and gives even more downside toward. Well, no, I shouldn't say more downside. That's accounted for here. But obviously, major threat toward Rocker that maybe doesn't register DFS-wise. Abbott, again, just at those prices, it just bounces off the board weird. He's fine. I believe in that projection with some upside on it. And again, he's been pitching really, really well all season. That is good Atlanta lineup. It's a good hitter's park. Couple runs against at those prices compared to everybody else. That's really challenging. On the 4-man FanDuel slate, yeah, you're going to have plenty of Andrew Abbott, and it hampers you less if he gives up a couple and doesn't get destroyed, even though it knocks it down a peg at that price compared to the other guys. There's still only so many directions you could go. So, I mean, some of these guys are going to get chewed up, and it'll be fine. Carrasco at 6,000 could be interesting. He made 6 starts for the Yanks early in the season. Was done. He pitched basically he pitched in March on the 29th, and then he pitched all of April and 1 game in May, and then was done. But has been pitching consistently at the AAA level. 7 innings in each of his last 3 starts. Allowed 3, 1, and 2 earned runs across those. Last 2, he struck out 6 against the Nationals affiliate and 7 against the Red Sox affiliate. He's been pitching in decent form against AAA hitting. He's a pitcher with a fair amount of success over time. Did not have much of anything early in this season. But if we're getting 5 with the ability to get to 6, maybe even 7 if all is going crazy, crazy well, and there's no reason to think that Atlanta is going to be coddling him, then he's at least on the board, squarely on the board at 6,000. Doesn't project well, but he's there. And then Stroman's just terrible and facing a pretty good Rays team, but 6,500 on FanDuel, or on DraftKings rather. It does work. You get the good version of Marcus Stroman. He's inducing ground balls, keeping the ball in the yard, not really finding many strikeouts, but that's Marcus Stroman. And here we are on that game. Excuse me 1 second, guys. I'm going to step over there. I'm going to blow my nose, and I'm going to look out the window and see how the weather looks for this one. Be right back. Oh my God, that's so much better. So, Lone Wolf's here. What's up, buddy? Yeah, the weather I read through before was the weather in New York, and just looked out the window. Again, it's the same read. If I was going to this game, I'd be going to this game. It's a sunny day. It's overcast right now, a little bit like gray, hazy skies, but not like dark, looming storm threatening skies. Right after yesterday's lock, I went outside and walked down to the Supremo down the street. And it was like that dark, when it gets cloudy right before a thunderstorm and it's like green and you can smell the thunderstorm. It was that. And it doesn't look like that right now. Again, that could change easily in the next 45 minutes leading up to that game. But right now, I think we're okay, at least to start the game. It probably looks like, going through Ross' report, he was worried that things would change and the storms would arrive more around 2:00. So as long as that doesn't happen, which so far so good, doesn't seem like it, I think we're fine to play that, because the rest of that was, if that doesn't change, they'll be here around 4. And at 4, we're fine. We've gotten through at least 3 hours of baseball, which is most, or if not all, of this game. So for me, DraftKings wise, I think I would be firing shares at this game. I think that makes sense. Pepio, again, comes in 24.3% strikeouts, a 3.42 ERA, a 3.94 xFIP. Still finding, really polishing and rounding off some of the edges. He still gives up a little bit too much premium contact and power. 9.7% barrel, 42.4 on the hard hit, and 90 miles an hour of exit velo. Technically, that's over the threshold. That's at our threshold. That's just below. And he is giving up 4.11% home runs. So if he gets got, it's going to be through the home run ball, probably, with these Yankees and what they do well. That said, I'm not really too concerned about him. He's good at missing bats, 11.7% swinging, 24.3% strikeout rate overall. Should pick up a pretty decent start here for your 8,300. Again, that is a great purchase on DraftKings. 65 for Stroman, who's pitching to a 6.09 ERA and a 4.95 xFIP. That's obviously a little bit different, but still not that good. Sub 15% strikeout rate against the 10+% walk rate is entirely unsustainable. I have no idea what the Yankees are doing with this guy on the mound. There's got to be someone better available. Presumably, they're going to make a pickup today. I've been saying Merrill Kelly for weeks now. So yeah, Stroman at 65. Look, you can throw the dart. There are some strikeouts in the heart of that Rays lineup, but there's also a lot of good bats through there. You got Brandon Lau back now taking shots at that short porch and right. Aranda's another good lefty. Josh Lowe is a good lefty. And then the right-handed hitters are quality. You've got Chandler Simpson available at the top to get on, steal bags, create havoc out there. Just an ugly spot to be playing Marcus Stroman, but very short slate. Going to the Rays lineup, Simpson for 46 on the DraftKings slate for 86. Really screwed me up there. Holy shit. Brent, all right. FanDuel wise, these are all the showdown prices. You'll note that Brandon Lau, that was where the holy shit came from. Brandon Lau at 3,000 is stupid good on that FanDuel showdown slate. He's going to be crazy popular for whoever plays that thing. But that is the obvious go-to captain guy since you're multiplying salary by 1.5 now. Super, super obvious spot. But that is a misprice. I don't know what the hell they're doing there. I guess they assumed he wasn't going to be there for this game. So Simpson at 46 at 86 in that showdown slate. Perfectly fine to go to. 335 on base. He's stolen 32 bags in just 245 plate appearances. Very, very solid hit tool. Doesn't do a whole lot else. Needs help from his friends to fully come through. But a very interesting player and a guy who can beat out a ground ball. He hits a little chopper to the third baseman. He might beat it out. So even the ground ball effect from Stroman not really going to impact him all that much. Stroman, by the way, giving up more fly ball this year, too. 11.3 degree average launch. Lau, so 4,300 on DraftKings really, really, really works, but 3,000 on that showdown slate is just stupid. He's hit 19 home runs in 355 plate appearances this year. He's always been a monster power bat from the left side. Yankee Stadium is ideal for him. Yandy Diaz at 47, 11, 6, 18 home runs on the season, having a great year again. 283, 344, 465, creating runs 22% better than average by WRC+. Hits the ball very hard. Just an excellent bat, and 4,700 is a very good price for him on DraftKings. Aranda for only 43. The positional conflict with Diaz continues to suck, both first basemen, but that's a good pickup as well, and if you need to save the money, there's nothing wrong with going from one to the other. Aranda hits the ball equally hard, if not harder. 12.5% barrels, 53.7 on the hard hits, 10.2, 53.4 for Yandy Diaz this year. And he's hitting for better average. He's getting on base more effectively. Hitting fewer home runs, finds fewer extra base hits despite making better contact. But a really interesting player in his own right, leads this team at a 143 WRC+. Junior Caminero at 51, 12-2 on the showdown. Love it. 27 homers on the season. He's a beast. 249 ISO, 11.2% barrels. That is a good stretch of power bats. Lau, Diaz, Aranda, and Caminero do a lot out there. Josh Lowe, mix and match kind of a player this season, but better than that. We know there's more quality there. Hitting the ball fairly hard, but he's lost some barrel. He has lost some hard hit year over year. But the good version of Josh Lowe is in there, and you can definitely get to him on any given slate, especially against a pitcher like Stroman. 42 is a good price. 66 on the showdown, also a pretty good price. And then we get three mixing kind of guys. Johnny DeLuca made a hell of a catch the other day to end the game. Slashing 406, 441, 531 over 34 plate appearances. Probably not going to be that good a hitter over time. Last year in 362, 6 home runs, slash 217, 278, 331. I'm more along the lines of that guy. He's probably better than that, but nowhere near as good as these 34 opportunities. Taylor Walls might get on, steal you a bag, but he only gets on at a 285 clip this year, 68 WRC+. And then Nick Fortes bringing up the bottom, just there to catch, really. On the Yankees side, for one thing, it's a shorter lineup on DraftKings. The Yanks picked up Austin Slater last night because he can hit lefties, so they picked him up to shore up the bench. So, of course, Aaron Boone immediately starts him against a righty. But he's not available on the DraftKings slate at last check. I've also got that as an impact with Gino Suarez in a game in the Mariners game later on. He is available at 4,800 on the FanDuel Showdown slate. He is not nearly as good against right-handed pitching, so challenging spot there, just kind of a might as well be Ozzy Peraza in that spot. Up at the top of the lineup, though, Ben Rice, 4,200, very interesting. 98 on the FanDuel Showdown, not bad. He's hit 15 home runs. He's definitely slid down the board quite a bit since the start, though. The last month and change has been a little bit more rough. Still carrying a 226 ISO, though. Still a monster 400 xWOBA under the covers. So kid can hit. He's got a good eye up at the plate. He's a very discerning hitter, especially for a guy with power. Love the upside on any given slate. Pepio, challenging pitcher, but if we're hunting for power and we're trying to exploit the contact Pepio allows, Ben Rice is absolutely on the list. Goldie at 39 at 82 works. Having a solid season. I've talked about it throughout the year. He's not really hitting for much power, despite continuing to make effective contact. That's good doubles contact anyway. 109 WRC plus, excellent slash line, a lot of counting stats. Just a 134 ISO, but a 338 xWOBA. More than capable hitter, low strikeout, medium walk. Cody Bellinger, even lower strikeout, medium walk, making very good contact himself. 20 home runs on the year, 283, 336, 517. Both those acquisitions have worked out really, really well for the Yankees so far. Knock on wood. Giancarlo, still 4,400 on DraftKings. He's 11 on the FanDuel Showdown. Monster piece on either slate. 7 home runs and 119 chances. Looking every bit the part of Giancarlo Stanton out there. Just got to hope that he doesn't end up playing the outfield over the next couple of days. Jazz Chisholm at 52, 13-2. By the way, if that's why Austin Slater's starting today, I can fully endorse starting Austin Slater in this spot against a righty. If it's just to keep Stanton out of the outfield, so be it. That's fine. Jazz at 52 at 13-2 on the DraftKings slate. Up to 18 home runs, 12 stolen bases. Kid's been great this year. 233 ISO, 127 WRC plus. Solid left-handed bat. Definitely a part of my plans on either slate if I'm choosing to attack Ryan Pepio there. More flexibility on FanDuel in a typical format. In Showdown, it obviously doesn't matter, but locked in at second base is perfectly fine. That's where you want him more often than not anyway. Jason Dominguez at 3,800 at 92 on the Showdown, 9 home runs, 16 steals, a 332 on base, 106 WRC plus. Kid's just been effective. Needs to find his barrels again, but he's hitting the ball very hard. He's been a decent hitter as far as drawing walks. Strikeouts are still a little bit high, but for a young player, first full season, he's been really good. Slater, I've talked about much better against lefties, but here he is. Ryan McMahon didn't get our home run yesterday, but he walked the game off with a deep double and some defensive indifference. But been solid. Really good start to his Yankees career, which is important because, as I mentioned when they first added him, a high strikeout, 3 true outcomes kind of a guy. Yankee fans get on their cases awfully quickly if they don't start out well. So love to see it from McMahon. He's also flashed the leather at third base, which has been a revelation. So really interesting piece at 37. At 72 on the FanDuel Showdown slate, he's very playable, and you pick up a little bit of value there. Volpe as well, kind of interesting down lineup, especially for Showdown at 7,800. He's hit 16 home runs, 12 stolen bases, any given slate upside for sure, given the premium contact that he's capable of making. R. Jones says, when Jazz strikes out, it's hard to watch. I watched him swing and strike out with a ball a foot off the plate the other day. Yeah, Jazz can get a little bit chasey for sure. And when he does pick up those swords, it looks really ugly. It's weird. He's got a really nice swing when he's full bore making contact on a good pitch. When he's flailing at pitches, it looks broken. He's just like a kid swinging the bat. It's a weird combination. Deb, we went through the weather. I do think as of right now that we're at least going to start the game and probably get at least 6 innings out of it, just given how it's looking to break down. But it's all going to depend on the timing of that rain. 12:25 for a 105 start. I live in Jersey City. I would need to be leaving. I would need to have left like 20 minutes ago. Typically, I would be leaving about now because I always get there a little bit late, and I would be going. Let's put it that way. So I would say Pepio, Rays bats, Yankees bats, Stroman as far as ranking. The best thing by far is Brandon Lau at 3,000 on that FanDuel Showdown. And now we skip ahead by 6 hours, and we tackle this game. So Carrasco, you can see 17.6% strikeouts when he started the year, 5.91 ERA, a 4.47 xFIP. Nothing was good over here. He was giving up too much premium contact, wasn't pitching to form. Seems to have found a little something, at least against AAA hitting over the last few. Worked really deep into a bunch of games. Starting July 3rd, he went 6, the 8th, 5 1/3, and then 3 straight 7-inning starts. 3 runs was the worst start he had. Handful of strikeouts in each, peaking at 7. I don't expect a big strikeout day necessarily, but this is a Reds lineup. The projected version anyway has a 25% strikeout rate. Carrasco's been a capable guy through his career. Even last year, ignore the 5.64 ERA. The 4.18 xFIP is not terrible. A 20% strikeout rate. Again, not great, but that was an okay season. He was usable in spots. Year before that was pretty limited in his return to action. Going all the way back here, though, 152 innings, 29 starts back in 2022, 3.97 ERA, 3.45 xFIP, 23.6% strikeout on 13% swinging. Once upon a time, the guy was quite good. So, does he dial the clock back? Have a great start here? Not necessarily. Odds are the Reds get him. They're carrying a 5.47 implied total. This is by far the highest on the slate. But it wouldn't knock me out of my chair if Carlos Carrasco came out and threw 6 quality innings here. Abbott on the other side, 103 pretty solid innings, 18 starts, pitching to a 2.09 ERA, but that xFIP is 2 full runs higher. That is noteworthy. When you're that low on this side and that separated, getting a little bit lucky. Some things that are not actually in his control are happening to help keep runs off the board. He's picking up an 11% swinging strike rate, but only 22.8% strikeouts, 6.7% walks. Both those numbers are fine. That's nice and tidy as a ratio. Been excellent as far as limiting premium contact and power, but he does give up a fly ball trajectory, a pretty extreme one, 19.5 degree average launch. Ball's in the air all the time. In a bandbox like this, that alone could burn you against the team that hits the ball like the Braves do. So the home run, despite the fact that he's managed it very well this season, I would say still is a threat here. 33.4% hard hit, 88.1 miles an hour of exit velo allowed. Again, that is excellent so far. 2.64% home runs. Last year, on extremely similar contact, 4.27% home runs. This is over 25 starts, 138 innings. 21.3 degree average launch was a little bit more extreme than the 19.5, but that's still a very big number. 9.3% barrel. Some of that launch, some of the exit velo is about the same. Hard hits about the same. So it's mostly probably picked up via launch, but there's a little bit of a discrepancy between the barrel rates, but not enough to double that home run mark. So again, I would say, maybe there's a little bit of luck baked into to where he's at home runs wise, or maybe a little bad luck last year and the number evens out in the low 3s somewhere. At 93 on DraftKings, you're absolutely playing Andrew Abbott here. At 10-2 on FanDuel, you're absolutely able to play Andrew Abbott here. But it's a high danger spot. 4.15 implied totals, not nothing. The Braves have a lot of really good home run hitters. Jarkson Profar up top of the Braves lineup. Don't love him. 4,100, 2,900, slashing 245, 323, 91 over now 122 plate appearances, 3 home runs, 2 steals, a 101 WRC plus. He's fine. As long as he's leading off, you can obviously click him into stacks ahead of Olsen, Riley, the bats that you actually want. But that is not a good player. Acuna has Achilles inflammation, calf strain, depending on where you're looking at. Yeah, he said Achilles, which isn't great. So they put him on the IL. So Acuna officially not going to be in this lineup tonight. But Matty Olson at 54.38 has 18 home runs on the board, a 197 ISO on the season, a 131 WRC plus. 54.38, effectively priced at worst. Austin Riley, a little bit cheap at 45, 31 on FanDuel. He's hit 16 home runs on the year, 173 ISO. The power output has not really matched the premium contact, nor has it really matched the pace he's put up in years past. But we know that's a premium bat at third base. And 16, Riley could still finish the season with better than 25 home runs, let's say. Not overly likely to, but could. 9 home runs over the last 2 months is not crazy. Sean Murphy at 38-31 has 16 homers on the season in 266 chances, a 257 ISO. He and Drake Baldwin have split this catcher job incredibly effectively. They're both big-time power bats. Whichever one you get, and it's probably going to be Murph against the lefty, absolutely fire away. Catcher shares, they become more important without Acuna. 3,800 is a great price for Sean Murphy where you have to play the catcher position. Ozzie Albies at 39-27. Mix and match quality guy this year. 9 home runs, 9 steals. It's the occasional sign of life, but it's been a really, really challenging season with Albies. Ozuna, 37-31, hit his 15th home run the other day in his return, 233, 361, 398 overall. A disappointing year, but a very solid 374 xWOB under the covers. 10.8% barrels, 47.4% hard hits. Could be a big final 2 months if he's fully healthy now. Michael Harris at 35-26, another guy you have really struggling through the season compared to what we expect from him. 9 home runs, 12 steals, a 69 WRC plus to go with a terrible slash line. Eli White in the outfield, just another outfielder at best. 250, 291, 383. He's got a handful of home runs and stolen bases. Every now and then he could get involved, but that's a mix and match quality guy. And then Nick Allen here for defense. R. Jones says, I'm playing Pepio and 4 Rays and running for the hills. Look, there's a good argument to be made, too, that if a lot of people are avoiding that game on that 3-game slate, all the more reason to go to it if you think you got a good chance of playing it. Just depends on how much you embrace risk. On the red side, Gavin Lux, interesting enough bat, considering how effectively he gets on base. He's got a decent hit tool, draws a lot of walks, very affordable. Prefer the second base eligibility on FanDuel, more just another outfielder, but a good position in a lineup that's projected to be the top lineup of the day in terms of both fantasy scoring and Vegas runs. So like the upside for Lux, and he's very affordable. There's no tax on what he's done for the season already, and a 105 WRC plus, been effective. Matty McClain at 4,000, at 3,000 on FanDuel, 11 home runs, 15 steals, 79 WRC plus, an ineffective slash line, but an interesting enough player and a guy who's just better than his numbers have been. There's a better player in there somewhere, and any given slate, especially against Carlos Carrasco, who's been a minor league pitcher this year, we've got some upside to work with. Probably going to get popular within red stacks, though. Ellie's going to be very, very popular on this slate. 18 home runs, 29 steals, an absolute superstar. Austin Hayes, I think, is going to probably get popular as well. 4,534 for him. You are paying a little bit of Hayes tax there. 10 home runs and 244 plate appearances, a 214 ISO. There's nothing crazy about that line as far as for who Austin Hayes has been over time. But this is a good version of him. This is him at peak form. I don't necessarily want to pay that much. I would if I'm stacking reds, but you're getting him. He's probably going to be their second, third most popular hitter, and you're paying a hefty fee for him by comparison to everybody else in this lineup and most other players on the slate. So it works, but through that lens, it kind of doesn't. Jake Fraley at 36-28, mix and match quality guy, 6 home runs, 4 steals on the season, getting on effectively, 355 on base. You can see some leadoff opportunities out of Fraley over time. He's a quality bat, but what I don't want is like both Fraley and Lux all that often. They do a lot of the same things. I would prefer whichever guy is leading off ahead of the power, but either guy can be capable. Steer has some pop in that bat. He's hit 11 home runs in 393 chances in an otherwise pretty lost season at the plate. Doesn't really come on any barrels or hard hit this year. 5.2%, 29.9, both numbers down pretty hard year over year. Not really drawing walks effectively this year either, having an impact overall on his run creation numbers. Tyler Stevenson's an excellent option where you need catchers. 12.7% barrels, 51.5% hard hit for 3,400 works for me. Definitely in play on FanDuel too, as if he's their first baseman at 3,000. I would absolutely include that. He's hit 8 home runs in 252 chances, a 163 ISO. Kind of don't really align with all the contact he's made. Capable of being better than that. Also strikes out a lot, but draws his walks. Very interesting bat. More so where you need the catcher position. Will Benson has 8 home runs, all the power in the world from the left side of the plate. You can see the premium contact numbers for yourself. Also nearly a 30% strikeout, which 29% for him is good. That's down 10 plus points year over year. So something to watch there. If Benson can make more consistent contact, maybe he gets a little better over time. Right now we're at 211, 259, 394. Wildly inconsistent player. Very good for a 0 or 2, but every now and then can give you a monster. And then Noelvi Marte at 43, at 32. Ke'Bryan Hayes not in this projected lineup, I'm noticing, and they just picked him up in a trade. So I would expect he's probably in there instead of Marte. Word was they were going to move Marte. We were talking about it the other day. Supposedly they're going to move Marte to the outfield to make room for Ke'Bryan Hayes. So we might get Marte. Not sure who would come out necessarily, but we might still get Marte and then have Ke'Bryan Hayes in here. Marte can hit 275, 327, 493 at 123 WRC plus right now, over 150 plate appearances. He's hit 7 homers, stolen 6 bases. Just lost a chunk of the season there, but he's been very good while he's been available. Hayes, not much of a bat. Best defensive third baseman in baseball, and it's not close, but not much of a bat. I'm interested to see what moving to this team, to this ballpark, does for that bat, though, because as we've seen with Ke'Bryan Hayes over time, he hits the ball very, very hard. Always has. Just never seen any results for it. So it's an interesting just change of scenery opportunity. Got to do it. Reds bats. Andrew Abbott, Braves bats, Carlos Carrasco. All 4 pieces are in play because of the 3-game slate. Here's the last game. Ducking, I missed your comment. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you, bud. Handful of people here hanging out, watching the show. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't before. If you're here today for this show, I imagine you've been with us all along, but welcome to anybody new who might have stumbled across us today because other people aren't doing stuff for this ugly slate. Subscribe to the channel if you get a chance. Check out rotoscouts.com. We've got baseball. We've got football coming up. First preseason football game is tonight. No guarantee on projections. I don't usually project preseason stuff. Maybe, since I'm going to be sitting around all afternoon. Maybe. That if they go up today for tonight's game, that doesn't mean we're going to have full preseason projections. I want to make that abundantly clear. It'll be special bonus content if it goes up tonight. I don't want to get roped into having to project the entire preseason. It's just a pain in the ass with all the guys who aren't going to be on rosters and figuring out, all right, this guy's going to get 4 snaps. What does he look like? We'll see. But anyway, access to everything that hits the website over at RotoScouts under $1 a day. No per sport nonsense, no fees, no nothing. You get all of the player projections. You get all of the home run model number for every single player on the board. You get access to snapshots of this dashboard. So you have all the stats and everything laid out for you, exactly what we talked through on this show. You get top stacks, power index, home run picks. Home run pick of the day, in fact, comes from this last game. So George Kirby, 8,800, 9,400. Excellent option on either slate. He's pitched to just a 4.50 ERA, but a very nice 3.32 xFIP under the surface that looks just like him. 25% strikeout against 5.9% walk. Works effectively deep into ball games. Even this year in the return to action, has been pitching outside of the first couple pretty deep into most of these games. He's got multiple 6-inning performances. Completed the 7th once, pitched into the 7th another time. 6 innings in each of his last 2. Struck out 9 against the Angels last time out. Gave up 2 earned runs on a homer, 5 hits. 4 earned runs in the 2 games prior to that. 1 against Milwaukee, 1 against Detroit. A couple of problematic outings there. Prior to that, those 2, though, he was on a stretch of 3 6-inning starts against the Pirates, the Royals, and the Twins, over which he gave up 2 runs total in 3 starts. Struck out 9 Pirates, 5 Royals, and 3 Twins. Excellent upside for giving you 6 very effective innings, potentially 7. handful of strikeouts. The Rangers come in with a 21.7% strikeout rate. There's some targetable strikeout guys in there. There's some realistic Ks, and George Kirby's just good at finding them. 8,800, too cheap on DK, 94 on FanDuel, also a little bit too cheap. Rocker on the other side, a 5.73 ERA, but interestingly, 4.05 xFIP. Not a bad mark. 20% strikeout rate's okay. Needs to come up, especially given that 11.3% swinging strike rate. 1.44 whip is obviously too high against the 7.9% walk rate. The walks aren't a problem. That's a perfectly fine average kind of a walk rate. So it's not the walks that are killing him. Little bad luck, little BABIP against, but needs to find the Ks and really capitalize on the ability to miss bats. It's also given up a fair amount of premium contact. You know, the 47.1% hard hit, 90.9 miles an hour of exit velo, we wouldn't typically worry that much about those considering the 8.3 degree average launch. But given the 12.3% barrel rate that's being allowed, when he does allow higher launch angles, it's getting hit very, very hard. And it's going for home run distance, 3.40% home run rate. So there's some good, there's some bad in there as far as that contact and the nature of it goes. When he makes mistakes, they tend to travel. Going up against this hard-hitting Mariners team with all the quality home run bats in this lineup now, with all just the premium contact, I really don't love the spot for Kumar Rocker, but on a 3-game slate, 7,300, you're going to play him. 8,200 on FanDuel on a 4-pitcher slate, you're going to play him. You just kind of have to hold your breath. Rangers bats at that 3.31 implied total, significantly less appealing, I would say, than the Mariners. Playable, but less appealing against Kirby for sure. Josh Smith off the top at 36.29, effectively priced as a multi-position guy. Very capable hitter, 274, 352, 415. Not a star, not a standout at anything, but pretty good at everything. Very playable, and especially when he's leading off. But even if he dips, even if he's 5 through 7, somewhere down that territory, perfectly fine. He's capable of delivering quality from down there as well. Corey Seager at 49 at 35 on FanDuel, differently priced across sites. A little bit inexpensive on DK. 15 home runs, a 212 ISO, 135 WRC plus. Been banged up and out of the lineup last couple of days. So just keep an eye on that spot. Assuming you get him, fire away. Marcus Semien at 42.29 has 13 home runs, 11 steals now. 90 WRC plus and climbing. Been more interesting in the second half for sure. Adolis Garcia is only 38.29, hit his 15th home run, has 10 stolen bases. The numbers still bad if you're looking at the slash line, at the ISO, the WRC plus, anything that matters really. But there are positive attributes here. Through the counting stats, we're rounding into form. Premium contact's always been intact. There are things to like. Very good reasons to play him at such cheap prices, especially if you're already going Rangers. Jock Peterson's only 22 on DraftKings, 25 on FanDuel. He's been kind of inept overall in 155 plate appearances and a lot of missed time. It's been a bad year for Jock, but this is a primo home run hitter against right-handed pitching over the last handful of years. So at those prices, I remain a buyer in anything Rangers that I'm doing. Very interested there. It would just be limited by how much Rangers am I actually getting to in this spot. They will be the contrarian angle into that slate, though. Fully believe. Wyatt Langford at 4,000, 3,400 across sites, 15 homers, 15 steals. A little bit cheap at 4 on DK. That's come down quite a bit and definitely different than the FanDuel price. FanDuel's got it more correct. It's got a 107 WRC plus, 12.4% barrel, 45.5% hard hit. Off the mark a little bit for the slash line, maybe, but you care about that. I guess, yeah, they care about that more on DK, so he's a little cheaper there. But FanDuel closer to the mark price-wise. Evan Carter at 44.28 doesn't really make sense the way he's priced compared to Wyatt Langford. I talked about that yesterday. 4 home runs, 12 steals for him. He's slashing 247, 333, 395. That's not all that dissimilar from what Langford's done. Josh Young at 35 at 27 on FanDuel has 10 home runs, 91 WRC plus. Quite a bit better than that. Decent as far as the barrels and the hard hits go, at least not tragic over there. A little bit off the mark for barrels from the last 2 years. Hard hits returning to form, though. There's a good player in there at third base. Definitely somebody to consider in your Ranger stacks. And then Jonah Heim, a perfectly capable catcher from both sides of the plate. 29 is a good price on a short catcher slate on DK. Definitely think you can go there. Mariners might be shortened if Gino doesn't get into the pricing slates. Between the two, I would say it's more likely FanDuel makes the change since they're just a 2-game slate that starts much later. With DraftKings starting up at 1 o'clock, probably not going to get them unless they've added them already. There you go. FanDuel added Geno and Ke'Bryan Hayes. Oh, you know what? I didn't put that in the right spot. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll fix it later. I was going to put it in so we could see Geno's price and pull Ke'Bryan Hayes back up, but I forgot I've got this extra Yankees game in there, so that was going to screw up the placement of all those things on that board. I can tell you the price, though. Geno is $3,800 on your FanDuel slate. Did they get him in on DK? No. DK didn't get him in. 17 minutes exactly till start time. So for $3,800 on the FanDuel slate, assuming he makes it to Seattle and gets into the lineup today, monster upside for Geno. He's hit 41 home runs, or excuse me, he's hit 36 home runs on the season. Protected in the lineup by Cal Raleigh now. He's paired back up with Josh Naylor, who his teammates with for most of the season in Arizona. This is just a good, deep, excellent looking Mariners lineup now. Starting the board with J.P. Crawford, who, as we saw yesterday, in a deep slide over the last month or so, still carrying a 361 on base, but that's down from 390 back at the end of June. 113 WRC plus, still an excellent way to lead off a Mariner stack. 3,300, 2,700. The price has slid right down with the performance as far as getting on base. Excellent correlated scoring option. Rising tide effect should help him. Julio at 53, at 36. Maybe a little bit of pressure off now that we've got a couple other big bats in this lineup. He was already kind of clicking for the second half like he's done over the last couple of seasons. 19 homers, 20 stolen bases now, 181 ISO, 113 WRC plus. Kid's absolutely a star. Could rocket over the next. Tigers to acquire Kyle Finnegan from the Nationals. Could take off like a rocket over the last 2 months and really lead this team to. Who knows? 65-44 for Cal Raleigh, 41 home runs, 12 stolen bases to go with the homers, too. That's a little underappreciated factor in Raleigh's game here. Getting on at a 365 clip and 12 stolen bases out of the catcher spot. Guy's just good at everything. 166 WRC plus. Again, Geno, you don't have him on DK, but fire away at 38 on FanDuel. Monster bat. Naylor at 49 at 35 on FanDuel. 12 home runs, 15 stolen bases. Solid slash line. Good run creator. Excellent bat for those prices at first base. Arozarena, if he drops down to the 6th spot now, it's kind of unfair for a guy who's already at 2020, 21 homers, 20 stolen bases, a 222 ISO. Monster season out of Arozarena. Really came on starting in mid-June and has been a beast lately. Jorge Polanco, 37-28, 17 home runs for him, a 212 ISO, 121 WRC plus. Cole Young in the bottom spot is the only waste guy in this lineup because Dominic Canzone for 33 for 27. Kind of interesting. 15.5% barrels, 50.5% hard hits on the season. 6 home runs and 136 plate appearances, carrying a 197 ISO. 7.94 in the home run model today. Dominic Canzone, home run pick of the day. Because why not get weird on a weird slate? I actually do think Canzone's kind of good. People do not go to him as aggressively as they ought to when they're stacking Mariners, especially now that we've lengthened this lineup by adding Geno, by adding Naylor. Canzone's just going to drop off of people's radar at those prices. That becomes an asset. He's really interesting down there. Would be in if I built one Mariners lineup, at least on DraftKings, especially with no Geno, he would definitely be in it. On FanDuel, it's a little bit more difficult to say because I only get 4 and there's at least 6 guys in this lineup that I really want before Canzone, but definitely a strong consideration, and I love the power upside. Mariners bats, Kirby, but that could easily be the other way around. Rocker, because he's cheap on DraftKings, and then Rangers bats at the bottom. Trav, Kirby's your top projected guy, probably your top pitcher of the day, easily your most talented, most proven guy of the day. I would say arguably tougher matchup than what Pepio's facing with the Yankees. Arguably, with no Judge in the Yankees lineup. But those Rangers have underperformed on the season, where the Yanks have been at least performing to standard by and large for most of those guys. So I don't think that's the case, but I think you could make that a case. But Kirby's top of the board here, separated slightly from Pepio. If you're playing it on DK, though, there's nothing wrong with saving $500 and going to Pepio against those Yankees outside of the weather concerns. Still looks pretty good. 13 minutes out from lock. Still looks fine. So I think you're going to at least start this game, play through at least a few innings, then maybe the rain gets here. Having Rocker third is challenging. I just talked about that one. A lot of upside in the Mariners lineup, but that's why he's at least on the board. 7,300 on DK kind of works. 8,200 on FanDuel kind of works. Like him a little bit better than Abbott, I think. Just tough spot for Abbott, but definitely gets a break for not having Acuna in that lineup. 10-2, 9,300. Pricey for a slate like this, but well worth it. He's been pitching excellent, but as we saw, ERA 2 full runs lower than his xFIP, and the xFIP is the more real number. Carrasco, total wild card. If he comes out and pitches like 2022 Carlos Carrasco, or even prior to that Carlos Carrasco, then that's a great option at those prices. I don't expect that, nor does Vegas, with Cincinnati being at a 5+ total. But he's very cheap, and he's not incapable. 7 innings in each of his last 3 starts in AAA. And then Stroman's just a disaster, which means Stroman will go out, throw a no-hitter, and win the slate for you. It's been a really ugly version of Marcus Stroman this year. No faith. No faith whatsoever. Hopefully his last Yankees start. And I think that's it, gang. Not my fault it's only 3 games and broken up stupid today. Did as much as we could on it. Hopefully that was helpful. Again, weather in the New York area does seem to have gotten a little bit more grayish looking. I can only see part of the window. But I think we're okay. At least to play 6. Get a full game in, an official game in. With that in mind, you guys, good luck out there tonight. I'll be on top of updates and confirm lineups for later on in the day. I'll be hanging around in Discord as well. Talk trade deadline, whatever you guys want. I'm around. I'll at least look at that pregame or preseason football slate. See if it's worth projecting. No promises. Really, no promises. Check out rotoscouts.com. Hit the like button on your way out the door. Subscribe to the channel on your way out the door. Good luck this afternoon and this evening. Good luck out there. Somebody go win something. Share the results when you do. Padres acquire. This is old news. Before the show, Pods picked up Mason Miller and JP Sears from the A's for a package that included Leo DeVries, their top prospect. Interesting pickup. Anyway, share the results when you do go out and win something at rotoscouts on Twitter, in the free Discord, which is linked down in the description to this video, as are all the different pieces of the projections at the website. So go check that stuff out, and we will be back tomorrow for more and probably a much more complete slate. See you, gang.